Hey, welcome to this bonus episode of the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Darryl.
And Darryl, this is a bonus episode where we are reviewing episode 2, Inside Man, of the HBO Max series Penguin. And I've decided to call this A Tale of Waddling Betrayal.
He absolutely waddles.
He waddles everywhere. It's amazing. If Colin Farrell doesn't win an Emmy or a Golden Globe or a SAG-AFTRA award or an Oscar or whatever the fuck he can win for this, he should win everything. Everything.
I'm just saying that I haven't even seen a lot of stuff. I mean, I've seen stuff, but there's no way. There's no way he can go without winning some of these awards.
I mean, Shogun won everything this year.
And
Shogun won everything this year.
Yeah.
Just let's give it all to the Penguins' first 2 episodes next year. We don't even need to see any of the other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he is. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he really is. He's a peach. He's a peach among peaches. Anyway, how you doing? What's going on? It's been a minute since we talked. Like literally, probably 35 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about the Penguin. Real quick, just since we're doing this bonus episode thing, right? For this week's podcast, we're gonna talk about some wrestling, some maybe AEW news, some Bad Blood, not to be confused with the Batman cartoon or the Taylor Swift song, PLE results and thoughts. And what else were we going to do? We had something. You sent me something.
Figure something out.
Yeah. I really want to do another bonus. Oh, go ahead.
Honestly, I will, because I can get something together. I want to talk about some of the stuff I was telling you about today regarding the general feel of video game companies and
that's
what these idiots, because there's some stuff I didn't even tell you that I didn't get to.
No, that'll be perfect. We're going to talk about video game stuff because there's some cool stuff. And honestly, I kind of want to do another bonus episode, maybe tomorrow, and talk about the vice presidential debate. Just because one, it was a great debate for both of them, even though there was a clear-cut winner. And wow, talk about a coming out party for JD Vance. It was a masterful debate on his part, and I don't care what you think about him or whatever. It's definitely if you want to know where JD Vance and Tim Walz stand, go watch the debate. It was really, really good. You'll actually learn something about both people. So, all right, that's our soapbox. You wanna hop right in?
Yeah, let's get
Okay, so we're starting this at 3 minutes and 16 seconds. So Stone Cold says 3:16 because I just waddled into prison and gave a mobster a ring. All right. So in this in this episode, we're still following Oz on his rise to power in the Gotham underworld. He killed Carmine. He has a whole bunch of stuff going on. He's working with the Falcones. He's working with the Maronis. He's playing one side against the others. He's going to dance with his mom. He made Vic get in a grave for some reason. I know why, but anyway, I don't think he had to do that. I think Vic knows what kind of danger he's in.
At the same time as, what did I tell you earlier? It's about sending a message.
So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So this episode had some pretty interesting themes: power and control, loyalty and betrayal, identity and insecurity, especially when it came to what is her name? The Falcone girl. Sophia. Thank you. I wanted to say Samantha. Sophia. A lot of insecurity on her part this episode. It was great. Kristen Milotti is awesome. Corruption, obviously, and survival, and ambition and the cost of power. But yeah, so Penguin is trying to just wrestle control away from the mob and put himself into the gangster position that Oz believes he should be in. It's just the way he works everyone, and especially like with Avasarala not trusting him and like watching him like navigate the Iranian mob or the Persian mob that he has to deal with was really, really cool.
Yeah. I really, there's two things that I about him, or two things that I'm going to talk about. One with him, and then one with Sophia. He does, again. We can talk ad nauseum about how good Colin Farrell is in this role.
Oh yeah,
but the person, like everything he says, every time he says something, you know how they say it with your chest. He says it that way.
Oh yeah,
because he has to. Because he knows the game he's playing, and even in this episode, he came close to getting shivved, and that desperation, that knowledge to know that this is the biggest act that I'm gonna have, and I have to play it just right, or else. Just again, this is one of those examples of when people say, and it's such a tired, it's a tired trope where people don't die in movies and shows, fine.
Right.
But it's also a tired trope where people say, "Oh, well, we know this person's not going to die, so I don't care."
Right,
dude. It's dumb. It's about the writing and it's about the acting and directing. Penguin's not going to die.
Yeah, and it's like we talked about Stuart Beatty's Obi-Wan script on Sunday. You know, Obi-Wan's not going to die until he gets to the Death Star. You know, plus. You know, Anakin foresaw both of them dying on Death Stars and the Emperor. So, you know, it's just the thing that happens. I think you're right.
It's all about the presentation.
Yeah.
And even when in the scene, I was like, he's not going to get knifed. You still feel that tension because you were in his shoes right there. Right. And that's masterful writing, acting, and everything has come together, and that's what it takes for something like this. Yeah. And then the second part, because we talk about Colin Farrell, and you mentioned it just real quick earlier, a few minutes ago, is Christina Milioti is fantastic as well.
Both of them, all the awards.
She has to me, and I don't know if I told you this, but I know I told this text chain I'm on. It's like she has Homelander eyes. She has that Homelander vibe, where you feel like she is hanging on by a thread, and at any one moment, even if she doesn't have laser vision, she's gonna knife a mug. And it's just that, it's that, you know, them playing off each other, and then Penguin's like, you know, they don't like you, they don't care about you, you know, you can see it in there, and just playing up on some of her insecurities. And again, she just got out of, I don't even know. I'm not even sure how long she was in prison, but she has that.
She was in Arkham. That scene, she wasn't in prison. She was in the loony bin.
And that scene we get with her, where she's sleeping in her closet, which again kind of plays into everything that's going on with her.
So like that's the thing, right? Like we you know, like Sam and Cap talked about that in Winter Soldier, about how like the bed's too soft, right? Like the walls are too big, the room is too big. She's not closed in enough, right? It's like right. And I'm not comparing prisoners to dogs, so please, like if you get offended by this, fuck off. But it's like with a dog, like you put a blanket over the top of their crate, and they feel more comfortable because there's no openness anymore. They because they're, you know. Well, they're creatures that like that.
Well, for them, they also have, there. And again, that can go into the fact that dogs and people actually like weighted blankets because it gives them security. I mean, some people like that, but yeah, I don't. But I know people love those. There are certain people that love those, and from what I've heard, that really helps dogs in storms. So, yeah, that aspect of
needing, like a weighted vest.
Yeah. So that's just another fascinating aspect of her character, and just that back and forth of Penguin knowing that, like I said, that he is dancing on the edge of a knife right now, and with Luca, with Luca's right hand man, who's the guy who's sleeping with his
Oh
wife
yeah. Yeah.
unbeknownst to him, and he's just, and again, he's really thrown, even though he's playing them off each other, he's thrown a little bit more of his cards as far as on the Falcone side with Sophia.
Right.
And
well,
I'm
he's
very
totally
curious to
playing
see.
Maroney, you know. He is,
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He's
Yeah.
100% just like playing him, like, yeah.
Well, and as you said, how Avasarala came close to ending him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know her name in this show.
Right.
And her real name is Shogla Adu or something.
I can't
I'd
pronounce
have
her
to
real
look it
name,
up,
so
but
she's Avasarala.
yeah, she's the lady with the voice.
The lady with the voice. But yeah, no, it's so kind of like what you're talking about in the first episode when the Falcones had him and he was naked in the chair and they had the guitar, like the garrote under his arm. It's like, okay, they might actually cut his arm off because like this is not Batman, right? This is not following any conventional like Batman story anymore. I mean, they don't even call him Oswald Cobblepot. His name was Oswald Cobb. You know, it's the Penguin, but it's a different character, which I'm enjoying. Like, and this is if you're going to do changes to characters, this is the way to do it because it allows, to have those like table stakes kind of reset. Like, you don't know what's going to happen to him. Maybe he loses a foot. Maybe he gets his nose cut off and gets a long prosthetic nose put on. Who knows? You know, but at the end of the day, you know, the chemistry between all of the actors in this show is amazing. I mean, obviously Kristen Milotti and Colin Farrell, I love watching them, but I really enjoy watching Penguin and Vic interact.
I really like that relationship. I liked it from the beginning, and they did I really like how quickly, and again, did you see it in the first episode, how quick they were able to convey why Penguin saw something in Vic? It's because of the stutter,
right.
When he was stuttering, and he saw that, and he thought about his own life and his own waddle.
Yeah.
And again, it's just something like that, this is good writing, and I will be the first one to say that I initially had really no interest in
this show,
and then this show.
Yeah, I mean, I told you I was like, I don't really want to watch it until I saw the preview,
and then I watched the first episode, and I was hooked. I'm absolutely hooked on this show. I think it was 8 episodes, which kind of sucks, but that's fine.
And just to remind people,
story.
We gave out of 5 ostentatious purple Maseratis, you gave it a 4.5 out of 5, and I gave it a 4.67 out of 5.
Yeah,
and you went up this week.
Yeah, this.
Anyway, but yeah, I like this. We had Theo Rossi show up in this episode, which was great. You know, we got a bunch of Clancy Brown in this episode, was great. We even got some Michael Zegan, Alberto Falcone flashbacks, which I like using that, right? Because I'm kind of hoping Alberto is going to end up being the serial killer like he was in The Long Halloween. Because every time somebody does something to Sophia, she moves a little bit closer to the hangman. And in the cast rundown for this, they have her listed as Sophia Falcone in the hangman. So, you know, watching her descent into madness is going to be really, really interesting. And it just makes me more sad that Matt Reeves did such a horrible job with the pacing and storytelling in the Batman movie, because this all could have been prequel leading up to introducing the Penguin in the second film. having the Long Halloween as the overarching story of the second movie, with the big bad of the Riddler as the through line until the third movie in the trilogy. Like, the Riddler should have been in the first movie. We should have seen all of this, and it would have been really interesting for the Riddler to have a competing serial killer with the Hangman.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me, how I think it would be fun to break down this story.
Yeah, I especially revisiting that aspect of what you just said once we get through all 8 episodes, and how it ties in and how it could have been used better to.
And this is after
create a
this
more,
is after the Batman. I would have done this as a prequel.
Yes.
I would have done this as the Penguin's rise to who he was in the Batman, and how Penguin is kind of partially responsible for the fall of the water wall thing, because he doesn't ever stop, and he doesn't stop Batman. But that is beside the point. It's just fun, the complexity of what is kind of a simple show. I saw a bunch of people saying that, like, oh, he's just Colin Farrell's just the Tony Soprano, and I'm like, no, he's definitely not Tony Soprano, because his drive is power. Tony's drive was not power. Tony's drive was lust and greed and selfishness. And Oz is a lot of things, but he's actually not super selfish.
Yeah, I see that comparison, and it's because of the whole mob thing.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it.
People like to be able to fit something in a box, and I could see the parallels as far from that aspect, and I can definitely see the same type or similar type of filmmaking as far as it being very character driven, and you see these individuals. And going back to what you said about his selfishness, I don't. He is selfish, but not necessarily to the point of it's all me.
He's not altruistic. The Penguin is not altruistic, but he's also not selfish at the same time. Like, what he does for his mom, the way he helped Vic, what he does for Sophia at the end of the episode, right, where he's like, hey, let's team up. Like, we've got a lot going on here. We've got the other crime families. We've got GCPD. We're not sure who we can trust. Let's trust each other. And, that will be to Oz's detriment, in the long run, to trust Sophia, because of just kind of how crazy she is.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really captivated by this. It's one of those things that this is a show that I'm actually glad that it's not bingeable, because I want to be able to have this play out over the coming next 6 weeks or so, just to be able to digest and go back, because I'll probably sometime maybe halfway through go back and watch the first 4 episodes again.
Just catch up.
It's that good. It honestly is that good.
And the other thing to think about too is, I don't think this will be a super bingeable show going forward. Like, because it's something that you have to watch and kind of sit with,
And yes, I'm one of those that there are certain shows that you can binge, absolutely. Cobra Kai, for example. But then there are other shows like this that it takes something for me. It doesn't take away from the show itself, but it takes away from the experience. If you can just sit down and watch all 8 episodes in one sitting or in a day or two.
Right.
It takes away from the experience of it. And it's like when we go to movies, and we go to movies for the experience.
Right.
And there are certain movies, not all, but there are certain movies that if you don't see in the theater, it takes some of that experience away.
Yeah.
If I had seen, for example, Endgame or Infinity War just on the couch, I would have loved it, but there's just something about, or going back to the original Iron Man, going back to the Avenger. there's an experience. And while we don't have that same experience on the, on the small screen, you do have it when you have a show that comes out weekly and you have to wait
Yeah.
for, that week to be over with. And again, it's something that, kids nowadays, they don't understand, but we grew up with shows like that. I mean, that's most of our, half of our lives or more were shows that would come on weekly.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I appreciate the fact that I have to wait a week to see this. I do kind of wish, because, for us talking about it, it would come out Sunday at like 3 a.m. so we could watch it on
I
Sunday
wish it came out. Honestly, I wish it came out on Thursday. I wish they would have left it as a Wednesday show, like midweek, because there's just so much other stuff that like pops up throughout the week. To have something middle of the week where we can watch it, it's not going to worry about, like, its only competition would be AEW right now, wrestling, as far as cable goes. And yeah, it would be a lot of fun to have something like this midweek, talk about, go into the office and be like, did you watch Penguin? And now it's like, oh, did you watch Penguin? No, I watched the Bills lose to the Ravens. I mean, that's, I mean, it's true. I mean, that's the thing that people like, they're like, people our age and friends and things like that are going to be more interested in talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, all right. So out of 5, how many mobsters can Oz betrays? What do you give this one?
4.25. Again, this is just a fascinating show. We have 6 more episodes left. If everything is this quality, all of these are going to be 4+ for me.
100%.
I hope we keep that quality. So I mean, it's just going to be just a derivative of 4 something.
Yeah.
So very good.
Yeah. Just a
episode.
reminder, you gave the last one a 4.5. So like a little off, not much. I gave this episode a 4.51. Again, thoroughly enjoy it. Loving Colin Farrell. I actually really enjoyed, the post episode documentary thing when they're talking about breaking down the story for this. Like, this is a legit writer's room. This isn't like some woke Star Wars nonsense where they're putting, other things in front of story. Oz is the front and center of the story, and the showrunner, she made sure, or not. I'm not the showrunner. Sorry, Lauren LaFranc, one of the executive producers, made sure to call that out. Like, she is the showrunner. I'm sorry, Lauren LaFranc is the showrunner. The writer was Craig Zobel. She made sure to call that out, and I really, really appreciated her for doing that. And I think, calling her out for this. So it's perfect. Craig Zobel is the director of the first 3 episodes. And then we'll see. But Lauren Frank wrote the pilot and she wrote the finale. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, I really like where we're going with this and what we've gotten so far. I don't have a lot of bad stuff to say about it, or not even bad stuff, even really nitpicks.
My only nitpick is that it's super dark. Like, the actual like lighting of the show. All I do is I sit there and I watch and I think of Ryan George's pitch meeting, and the pitch meeting for the Batman was like, oh yeah, we're gonna make it so dark that we'll be able to play an audiobook and they won't even know. They'll be like, I see it. I see what's happening. Like, that was the joke he made during the pitch meeting for the Batman. So take with that what you will. So anyway, all right. Well, is there anything else you want to add?
If you're not watching this, why are you listening to us before you're watching it? Even though we didn't give a lot away in this episode, which this is one of those shows I don't want to give a lot away. Right. Just little snippets here and there. And then we can have a revisit of our favorite things maybe at season's finale. But yeah. I like where this is going, and I appreciate, that Max has put out thus far a banger of a show.
I mean, I'll say this. With where the show has gone so far, I mean, it's definitely in my top 5 certified infamous for the year, unless it falls completely off the rails.
Yeah,
So,
same here.
Cool.
Same here.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. We love you. We will be back on Sunday. If you want to see more of this, let us know. Also, check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple. I don't think anybody's using Apple Podcasts anymore. So if you're on Spotify, do me a favor and send me an email. And I'm going to be sending out to anyone who's subscribed on Spotify. I'm going to be sending out some stickers. So just if you've listened this far, it's a special surprise. I've got some pretty cool Infamous Podcast stickers, and they're fun. All right. D, any last words?
Nope.
All righty then. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. You can find new episodes every Sunday on Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, our website, or anywhere podcasts are downloaded. This show is hosted by Darryl Jasper and me, Brian Tudor. To find more information about the show, visit us at infamouspodcast.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Infamous Podcast to keep up with the show. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Infamous Podcast. We have some great rewards for our patrons and are looking for help to grow the show to bring you more of the content you want to hear. Music for this podcast is provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. So, whenever you're listening to us, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.